Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. It's me, Joey P. Joe P. Zapia with you on a fun Friday. The Welsh is back again for some more fun. We've got a big call-up that we've been waiting for. We've got another great Framber Valdez start. But let's start, of course, Welsh, at the very top, which is definitive news about Max Scherzer and how long he's going to be out. So
I thought you were going to talk about the other big news that had to do with the Mets was my Pete Alonso home run call yesterday, which I believe pushed me to 9, if I'm correct. But apologies, it's it's that other Mets thing that we want to talk about. That little 6 to 8 week injury.
Well, this is like the Pete Alonso, home run yesterday was like, when they throw you the big birthday party before your parents tell you they're getting their divorce.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what's like, hey, look, everything's fine. Look at us. Yay, we're having fun. And then, oh yeah, by the way, you're not going to see your dad for 8 weeks. So Max Scherzer is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So that's going to put him around the All-Star break. I don't know if we're going to see DeGrom again this season. And if we do, theoretically, that's the time period. So the ripple effect. Let's talk about it in fantasy. Let's talk about it in wagering. Let's talk about it. So forget him for Cy Young. That's if you had those tickets, you crumple them up, you light them on fire. Poof, they're done. So now in fantasy terms and in wagering terms on the Mets are still minus money at the top. And then on top of that, in fantasy terms, you're not replacing Max Scherzer. There's nothing you can do to replace him. And this is another one of those big time top 10 starters that we said, look, it's a very risky group. Scherzer's been great. He's got a lot of age. This was always my fear of Scherzer. I kept him in my home league and I was hoping for the best. Things seemed to go well. And here we are again. So how do you try to manage as a fantasy person first? Let's start with the fantasy. How do you manage the absence of Max Scherzer for the next 2 months?
Well, I mean, the problem is everybody's going to do the one natural thing. How do I replace him? How do I get these stats back? And you can't. You cannot replace Max Scherzer. In Dynasty, you're going to have a little bit more flexibility to go and potentially, make a move to make that replacement. But you're stuck. You're stuck in redraft. The best way to do it is obviously going to be to scour the wire. I think the second most natural thing is going to be for someone to start piecing from points of strength in their team and trying to trade off to replace that. I also don't think that's necessarily a great idea because you will get this guy back. I think the first and foremost thing I would be looking at is what format, obviously, if you're in a 10 or a 12-man league, what's on the wire? Can you create a streaming schedule of pitchers to be 80% of that and just make do? I think it's the best thing you can work with here. And then obviously I think the other question with it is what do you do with Max Scherzer? And you just hold, you put him on the IL, you bench him, you don't cut him. I don't see a format that you would cut Max Scherzer. You just have to deal with it. But I want to get, obviously you got to get your response in here, but I have a thing I want to turn back to you on this. Do you agree with me on that? Do you think that's the same play?
I do. I think managing is a smart way. The other thing I would do was buy high on guys. Paul Blackburn, for instance, I'm just using as an example.
Guys like lower named high performers.
Lower named guys that people are looking to get out on, buy high, take them. See, because you might not have to spend too much to get them, but there's a group of pitchers, probably about 5 or 6 guys that are pitching over their head right now. Sure. I would go and target one of those guys and hope that you get another 4 or 5 starts out of them, because theoretically the 2 months is what we're talking about, 10 starts. Yeah. And it's so funny because at the beginning of the year, we were throwing out numbers like, what's the combined number between Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer? And I feel like we started at 50. And then at one point we said, okay, we get a combined 35 starts from these 2 guys. And I'm going to put that to you again. Do we get a combined 35 starts from
God, how many do we have right now on? How many do we have?
I don't know, 10.
I think so. I guess I'm always like a star optimist. I'm always an optimist, I suppose, to like the big studs and that they're going to come back. So here was my question. Here's something I speculated it. Actually, I did my stages yesterday. People go and make sure you're up in the Discord. You can come and hang. And JP was hanging with me in there. And I was relaying a thought. It was just a live thought process, was that, you're going to have Scherzer and DeGrom theoretically coming back right about the same time. And what an acquisition, theoretically, obviously. I know you're like, DeGrom could never potentially come back, but I think the timelines kind of work out, maybe post All-Star break. So what a influx of talent you're going to have for this team. So this team has to figure out, how do I make do for the next 2 months? And how does this team make do for the next 2 months? You've got, with a rotation of Bassett and Carrasco and Taijuan Walker, with an underperforming offense. I think they have
and
to get
McGill's still on the
aggressive.
shelf too. He's supposed
And
to be
McGill.
ramping up today.
And when McGill comes back,
McGill was terrific in the first couple of weeks of the season. Then obviously things started to go awry, and then the injury, obviously something was going wrong there, and that was probably the reason.
yeah.
So if McGill comes back, sure, that's another guy. I just want to do this real fast. I want to put somebody on blast here. Brian, no, you idiot, no, Brian, no. Paul Blackburn can't be Max Scherzer. LOL, ha ha ha. Yes, we all know, of course he can't be. No one's Max Scherzer. That's the point. The point is, how do we manage the situation?
Yeah.
So Brian, this is the kind of stuff where I'm giving you a hint. I'm trying to help you, and you're taking the wrong thing out of it. I'm saying the philosophy behind what to do now is find the pitchers that people want to get out from under because they think they're going to implode, and hope that you get another month and you bridge the gap till you get Scherzer back. No one's going to replace Scherzer.
At low cost.
At whatever cost you can get them, and it's probably not going to be a high cost because those people don't believe in them anyway, and they're looking to sell high, quote unquote, on them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I get my dander up.
Well, I agree with that thought. But so my whole thought of this is, okay, so then you go and get McGill. So you have McGill and Bassett. Is that really enough, especially with an underperforming offense? I don't think it is. And I think this team needs to be hyper aggressive and can be. And I think they will be hyper aggressive. And I think Frankie Montas makes the most sense for this team right now. I think the Mets, they have a huge influx of prospects, especially ones that are closer to the majors. Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio. They've got some young pitchers. Alex Ramirez has been insane, by the way. He's been insane in the minor leagues. They've got assets. This is a team that should be hyper aggressive and make a move. So I wonder if they would go out, and I don't know how much we go into the fantasy aspect of this. What does this really do for you? But I think this team should be making calls to Frankie Montas, to the A's right now for Frankie Montas, to the Diamondbacks for Zach Gallen. And then you've got a situation where they could go into a playoff run with Scherzer, DeGrom, McGill, Montas, let's say, and Bassett, and then they can throw Carrasco or someone in the bowl. I mean, it is a no-brainer situation. The only thing that could potentially be a caveat to it is how kind of poorly some of that offense has been performing, especially the bottom half. So I guess I just wanted to throw it out, and I'm curious at your take. I think they should and will be aggressive, and I think they're going to make a trade for a starting pitcher, because I don't think with what's coming back, this is a playoff run team. I don't think you can risk the 2 months without being aggressive.
No. And I know we spent a lot of time on this, and it's because it has massive impact. And look, Brian, I love you. Yes, I'm salty, but I mean, I want to make sure that people who are reading these comments don't take the things the wrong way. So I love you, Brian. Don't worry about it. Everybody loves you here. If you
think Blackburn's going to be Scherzer, it's fine, Joe. No, we're not judging. That's
fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him in the top 8 picks overall next year. Sure. The point, the other opportunity here, Welsh, and you're right, I think they are going to make a trade and be aggressive. But the other point here to make is, in the betting market, now's the time to jump on Atlanta, because Atlanta is still almost 3-1 on BetMGM in most spots. So if you like the Braves, if you've been waiting on the Braves, if you see Wright and Fried at the top of this rotation, and Morton starting to turn things around, and now Acuna is back to full health, and Austin Riley really hasn't gotten going yet.
Ozzy's been underperforming, and he hasn't.
Ozzy's been underperforming. Yeah. This is the time to jump on the Braves at 3-1, because the Mets are still minus money right now, which is nuts to me. Like, that should have changed immediately. They should have gone to plus money. Forget minus 175 or what I saw them this morning.
I think it's a great call, because I've been kind of a Braves guy. I love the team makeup and stuff. But what do you think would change if they were to go and get, I think Gallen is going to be even harder, but let's say they got Frankie Montas, or, the Reds. It's ironic that some of the worst teams have some of the best, most successful pitching in, like Luis Castillo, Tyler Mahle, Montas. What if they got Montas? What do you think that would do in the betting market for the
Montas? Look, Montas would be a great addition anyway. Montas would be where I would shoot for, but I mean, I don't know if I'm all for it. Steve Cohen knows what he's going to do, and he's going to go and be aggressive, and he wants to win. He has made it clear that he will do anything it takes to win. But right now, we've got to think of this as, okay, Joe Musgrove now, to me, is a really strong wager in National League Cy Young because of the Scherzer injury now.
Yeah, I love
where he's at. The Braves become a really interesting wager right now. And if the Mets start to regress, even if they play 500 baseball till they get one or both of those pitchers back, I still like the wager on the Mets to make the playoffs. I still like them to even win the World Series if everyone's healthy. But to win that division right now, it's the Braves bet, because the Phillies are struggling. You see these, the other teams there are starting to, the Marlins are starting to be the Marlins. We all know what the Nats are. So, and yes, Wonky is right. Wonky is saying that I'm going through the stages of grief, bargaining, salty, saltier, saltiest, and reluctant acceptance. Thank you, Wonky Penguin.
Oh, that is that's my actual 5 stages of grief as well. I have 3 levels of salty.
Is that what?
Yeah, maybe 4.
All right, let's
maybe
get
4.
to some other things here. We've talked about this too much. Trevor Story, 3 home runs. Boy, did this guy need a good day in the worst way. 7 ribbies last night. The first second baseman in Major League history with 3 home runs and a stolen base in the same game. Framber Valdez. Framber was the color of our energy yesterday. I told you, keep it simple. Just start Framber Valdez in DFS. And if you did well. You got to win over the Rangers. I think he is 6-0 or something against the Rangers in the last 6 starts. He's got like an ERA around 2 or something nuts over the last few starts against the Rangers. He owns them. Zach Gallen, 5 frames and a win over the Cubs. Julio Rodriguez continues to be hot. Welsh, this is good news for my Julio shares.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to share this real quick, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm a Diamondbacks fan, so I was tied into it, but I also had bet the Diamondbacks first 5 on it, so I was really tied into it. I don't know if anybody saw this, and I really want to go see if this was a record. Gallen had a 38 pitch 5th inning, so I was like dying here. That guy had 18 balls fouled off in 1 inning. He had 7 the entire game up there, and they were talking about it. We don't know if this ever happened before. 18 balls were fouled off in a single inning, which was bonkers by Gallen, and he still was able to get through it. One of those guys, if he were on a better team, he would be Cy Young contention, and he would be a nice little bet. But apologies, I took us off.
No, not at all. This is good stuff. Let's talk about something happy. And it's finally Nolan Gorman season. Matthew Liberatore, Nolan Gorman got called up yesterday. So a few hours after the Scherzer news came down, I got this news. So that was like the baseball gods trying to say, stop being such a whiny bitch and get over yourself.
Stop being salty.
Please stop being salty. And so I am. So I'm going to stop being salty. I'm going to be excited for Nolan Gorman. He is going to be in the lineup. This is good times. Look, this is putting a lot on the kid, but there's a good chance in redraft leagues that Matthew Liberatore is still hanging out there, and
I'm a huge Liberatore guy. Someone I've been talking about. Is this the guy
if you lost Scherzer to be super aggressive on?
No, that's a really interesting way to put it. I don't know if that's the case. I look at George Kirby. George Kirby's a prime example of that was the guy to be hyper aggressive on. Killer first start. And then you go and look at what's happening right now. He's kind of all over the board. He's not commanding super well. He had a really weird start against Boston, by the way, where he all of a sudden was throwing his slider more than any other pitch because his fastball was doing nothing. So all I'm getting at is that was elite pitcher. I personally believe Matthew Liberatore will be a better major leaguer than minor leaguer because minor league numbers have been mediocre. They've just been mediocre throughout the time. It's actually very similar to Michael Kopech to me, and where Kopech really had multiple years of just mediocrity, and then he came into the majors, got better coaching, and all of a sudden, bam, just became a thing. I do believe Liberatore will become a thing, but I'm not sold that Liberatore is going to stick around here. So I wouldn't be hyper aggressive, but I would go and pick him up because I think he does not have any of the cachet that these other guys have. Everybody else loses their mind about it. Liberatore is no different than like when Josh Winder came up. He's accessible right now. But I am very excited about Nolan Gorman. I've mentioned multiple times, I interviewed him last year. And one of the things that stood out to me was even during that time when he was talking about his work he had already done with Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. So the test is big for him. The strikeouts are going to be a problem, but if and when he clicks, look out. But I think if you're looking for a prime example of a player to comp him to right now, at least production wise, it's probably closer to Torkelson. So that kind of tells you, you want to be on it. He's been hitting 300, but strikeouts are a problem. He's probably going to have some big struggles, but both are guys you should look at, but the aggressive levels should be tapered down a little bit. But it is interesting that Edman is now going to be pretty exclusively working at shortstop for Gorman. So this might be the permanent move, which makes it more enticing on why you should be. I'd be more aggressive on Gorman than I would Liberatore, but that's the craziness of it all. The rookie pitchers have been better than the hitters for the most part this year, but I still have my natural, want to have the hitters over pitchers.
And just to be clear, if you're in a redraft league and Nolan Gorman has a absolutely bananas first few weeks out of the gate, you can absolutely turn him around and flip him and sell him high because there is the downside of the strikeouts. I agree with Welsh that maybe that should be the practice that we're all thinking about. All right, let's move on to some other things here. This was a wacky thing, by the way, in that Red Sox game also. So a couple tidbits from this. Trevor Story became the only player since 1901 to hit at least 3 home runs, score at least 5 runs, and have a stolen base in the same game.
Yeah,
He
so
joins
weird.
Yoenis Cespedes in 2015 and Eric Davis in 1986 to do it. And then another wacky thing, I don't know if you saw this or not, but I caught this morning on the highlights where they brought Kirby back in to start the inning, and then they realized they didn't want to go to Kirby. They wanted to bring in Romo, actually, to face Verdugo. But because he had crossed the line, I guess he crossed the line. Because he crossed the line, he had to, by the rules, which I never realized, face one batter. So, of course, they get frustrated by this. The umpires get together. Kirby goes and faces Verdugo. Verdugo hits a ball off the wall and dead center field off of him, which was hilarious. And then he comes out and he goes to get Romo. So they brought Romo in. And then the other umpires like, no. Kirby has to pitch to this first batter because of the rules, because he came over the lines and took the mound. I never knew that.
I don't think I knew that
either. Take a guy out unless it was an injury.
I mean, in MLB The Show, I can take a guy out after he throws his first pitch if I want. Isn't that the rules? I didn't know. But like, he threw crossing a plane.
I don't know. I guess I thought crossing the streams was always bad, and I guess apparently it is. But the funniest part about it is they knew they didn't want Kirby to face Verdugo. Verdugo hit a ball literally off the wall, dead center field, hit a double.
Well, Verdugo was the worst type of person for him. Like I said, because I was watching the Baseball Savant page a lot, and I was enamored by how, dude, through 4 innings, Kirby gave up 5 hits of over 105 miles per hour. 5 in 4 innings. And they went 3 for 5. 2 of those were homers. They were sitting. No one was scared of his fastball last night. He didn't have it. So he kept throwing his secondary stuff, and they were all sitting on it. And that's why he was getting beat up. It was a really interesting, like, I didn't know if it was the manager saying go with your secondary stuff or if he knew he didn't have his fastball, but the story was out, and Verdugo's a contact hitter. So Verdugo's just waiting, sitting, not scared of that fastball. Probably, I don't know what the pitch was. I would guess it's probably that slider that he kept throwing, and that's funny. That's really funny. But a weird rule.
I mean, you could catch it. I'm sure it's in some sort of video package.
Yeah, I'll go back and look for it.
It was hilarious. And Brian, you don't have to apologize. Salty Joey P is the best Joey P. So we love you.
I've known Joe longer than any of you that are listening or that work here at Fantasy Pros. I know Joe. I know Joe the longest here, and Joe does, even in Joe's anger, Joe doesn't hold a grudge.
Oh, not like
he's
you.
Going to take it with him. Not like me. Like I take, yeah. You would think I'm like hardcore. I take it with me. Joe doesn't take that stuff with me unless you really wrong him. Unless you really wrong Joe.
In which case, then you really should just walk out the door. Like you shouldn't be around me if that's which you've also experienced with me with 1 or 2 people.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
By the way, this is hilarious. I gotta find this comment here because Wonky Penguin had a comment about the crossing of the lines. What is this, Field of Dreams? If you cross the line, you become an old doctor. That is hilarious, Wonky. Good times there. All right, let's get to one other injury note I want to talk about too. Shane Baz, who's probably floating around in a lot of casual leagues too, just struck out 5 over 2 1/3 in the rehab start. So I would assume everybody's running to pick up Liberatore. After that, I think that Shane Baz should be like somebody you pick up as well, or maybe in front of. Or
no, I would throw that. I'd take Baz over him. I would take Baz over Liberatore. I'm a little worried that with the injury, Baz could be used in that stupid role that they do, where it's like 3 innings or 4 innings, or it could be Rasmussen like. But still, I'm just Baz from a talent perspective. I'll take over Liberatore, but big Liberatore fan.
Isn't Liberatore the thing that you take? We see the commercials for during NFL season for my cholesterol.
That's it. That's totally it. That's what they're bringing up. They're bringing up cholesterol medicine to throw the 5th.
That's you know what I miss. I miss the Ray Liotta Chantix commercials. You want to take some Chantix, help you make sure you quit smoking. That's what you got to do. Get on the Chantix.
Ray Liotta.
That's what you do. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. All right, let's do some stat heroes here. Yu Darvish, 7 innings, no earned 5Ks. Great start for him. Cal Quantrill, 1 earned over 7 5Ks. Tyler Mahle was good. Yay, what a nice change of pace. 1 earned, 6Ks for him. Framber, terrific. Enough said. And Zach Gallen, your dude was pretty good. Like 4 Ks, 3 walks.
The fifth inning was the problem. The fifth inning got away from him. It was way too many. He hit a batter. He walked a few. By the way, I just want to point out, you totally just created a little video you should be doing where it's Ray Liotta talking about Matthew Liberatore. You should be selling Matthew Liberatore to fantasy owners. It's Ray Liotta doing the commercial.
Cholesterol high. You want to get your
ERA high.
Speak to your doctor about Liberatore right now. This I love too. I got to run through the hitters real quick because something happened yesterday, and I don't know if a lot of people caught this. I did. Usually social, I'm sure it's on social media somewhere. But so Trevor Story was great, 4 for 4, 3 home runs, blah blah. Santander great, blah blah blah. In that same game, right? Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run, and it's another classic John Sterling call where Stanton hit a home run to left field, and he goes high fly ball to right field. I swear to God, he said right field, and I had to pause it and I rewound it to make sure that I didn't hear it wrong. Maybe I thought I was losing my mind. Nope, he was right. It was high, it was far, it was gone, but it was to left field.
Not right field, you know what, Joe?
Field.
Left and right, not always the easiest thing on the planet. Let's not be judges of miss saying stuff. I won't.
Mayor says that I sound like Jack Nicholson when I do the Ray Liotta.
Oh, the last one. The last one was a little Jack. No, the last one was a little Jack Nicholson-y. The first one was very Ray Liotta. You're very good with impressions. Like I've got like 3, and I can do them well, but I can't do anything else. Bogman's got a host of them, and you've got a really good host of them. You're.
It is high. It is high. It is. Caught in left field. Oh wait, no, that's right field. I have no idea.
Your
what I'm
Pacino
talking about.
is
I'm John
the best,
Sterling.
though. I think your Pacino because you
also
your face. You do the face that turns into.
I do the whole thing.
It's the SNL thing where your face like turns into it.
The body, which it takes over my entire spirit when I do that. Luis Robert took over Mayor's spirit yesterday because he had another home run for Mayor. So you and Mayor are going to be on that leaderboard pretty soon, which is very frustrating. Paul Goldschmidt,
I was watching that live
right now. Yeah,
I was watching that live on the stages. When it happened, I went, "Oh no, Mayor just got on the board. No. Come on!" But I think he said too. Mayor Bot here said he's in double digits now, so he is going to probably be on this board by next week. So I need.
Well, you're at 9, right? So I mean, you're right on the tail. So
yeah,
with a good Buxton weekend, you're right there. I mean, after that Buxton stat we got about the weekend homers, you got to be in there. So Robert was great. Alonso with the big walk off. Tim Anderson 2 for 3 had a good day. Hunter Dozier, excuse me, also 3 for 4 with the dinger. JD Martinez was 4 for 5. Here was the bad. Ready, the zeros. Bruce Zimmerman, 5 earned runs against the Yanks. Kirby with the 5 earned runs. Basically just got destroyed by Trevor Story. Dakota Hudson, 4 earned runs. Enough of him. Rich Hill, 4 earned over 2 innings. Hitters, guess who's not special, boys and girls? JD Davis, 0 for 4, 3 Ks. Bringing some old school leading off there. Aaron Hicks, 0 for 4, 3 Ks. Gavin Sheets, 0 for 5. He's 1 for 17 since his 3 homers in 4 games. Whit Merrifield, an 0 for 5. Damn it, he was just starting to go in the right direction. Albert Pujols 0 for 5. Also, yesterday, Gold Glove 24 was the only person to call the Trevor Story home run. So good on them. Let's look at the leaderboard. The Night King in the North still at the top of 14 with DeBlum at 14 as well. And you see that it takes double digits right now to get up there. So you're getting close, Welsh. Mayor is right there, right on the. He's sniffing it. You know what I'd love? I'd love for Mayor to be right on the outside of that board the entire year and never have to see his name there. That's what I'm looking for. It's fun to be the villain. And you're right.
You would know.
Welsh wasn't here last year for the JD Davis episode where that was another salty Joey P last year.
You just lose your mind.
We went through this whole thing where I was like, JD Davis is fine. He's not special. And I said this thing where he's not special and everybody jumped on me about it. And he's not. If he was special, he'd be an everyday player all the time somewhere. And it's not special. He's fine. He has good runs. He hits left-handed pitching. He's fine. He's fine. He's not special. You're special.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get to some of the betting stuff today. Thanks to BetMGM, the king of sports books. Bet $10, win $200 on any game, regardless of the outcome. Sign up today. Download the BetMGM app. Go to BetMGM.com. Use the promo code leading off. One word, leading off. Bet 10 to win 200. We're just giving away money and bet responsibly when you do. All right, on BetMGM tonight, you got CJ Cron, 1.5 on the total bases, plus 105. You got Christian Javier on the strikeout total. He's at 5.5. FantasyPros has him at almost 7 against Texas tonight. And that's at plus 125. Ty France is at even money on the 1.5 total bases. Taylor Ward is at plus 125 in the 1.5 total bases. Shohei Ohtani total bases, same thing, plus 110 at 1.5. Julio is at plus 120 at 1.5. A lot of good things tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know if Colorado's going to play. So the Crone one I have to come out. Pete Alonso is even money. You might have to take him out, but Jordan Alvarez also total bases 1.5 is at plus 120. That's a nice number. Anything stick out to you in the prop market, Welsh?
Yeah, I kind of like a few of yours. I'm going to continue going through. I might share some online if people are interested. The two of the K markers, one I chased last week and it didn't work, but he was coming back from his first start. He looked really good. Hyun-Jin Ryu strikeout totals at only 3.5 today, and they're going up against the Reds. And I like the possibilities just because of it's a high strikeout team, and he was commanding the ball, and he was going up against the Rays in his first start, and he got 3 Ks and he couldn't get over the marker. So it's a little bit more dangerous, but you only got to get to 4 strikeouts versus a strikeout team. And Charlie Morton strikeouts 4.5. He's hit that in the last couple. Again, it's a pretty solid matchup as far as strikeouts go. So Morton, Ryu, single bet them is the safest way. I like to sometimes find my 2 favorite K pitchers, put them together, prop them together, and get somewhere from 150 to 200 odds. And I like to play those as a fun bet. But there's some good ones on there, and everyone should check out BetMGM MLB cheat sheet. You can check out. It's all based off of their algorithm and and their projections, and you can kind of go through. And one thing I find really helpful about the cheat sheet. I imagine most of you like to do your own work, is I like that the cheat sheet kind of puts guys in my eyes based off their projections, because it's, the daily projections every single day, they're going to have a guy hitting, probably 2 hits, a really good hitter, but then it's going to put players in my peripheral, and then I can go and I can do some research on a few of them,
the
find
filters
the ones
are
I
great.
like.
You can filter the site you want to bet at. You can filter out all the minus money and just do the plus money and see if one thing floats your boat. DFS, what floats my boat today is Nestor Cortez. He's at 10.6 on DK. Tariq Skubal is $1,000 less if you want to pivot off there in tournaments. I still think people don't respect Skubal enough. He's been brilliant.
Cleveland, though, they don't strike out. That's like I would have went to his K.
You know what,
prop.
though?
I just don't like
But yesterday, I don't know if Jose Ramirez is in the lineup or not. I don't know. I haven't seen that lineup yet. But Jose Ramirez fouled a ball off his leg yesterday. He stayed in the game for like 1 second, and then he came out after. So if he's out of the lineup today, even more to the Tariq Skubal price. But again, more of a tournament play. Eric Lauer off the bad start, or the not so great start, I would go into tournaments as well. I think people will be off him or a little scared. So Lauer, and then of course, if you need the secondary arms tonight, you got Robbie Ray at 8K and Blackburn, AKA the next Max Scherzer, 8.5. But Nestor Cortez is the lock cash guy. Same thing on FanDuel. If I'm playing cash tonight, I'm just going to Nestor Cortez. I'm keeping it simple. Best Cortez lineup wins. If I'm going tournaments, I'm going to go with Skubal or Lauer. That's what I want to do tonight. I like the Yankees, and I kind of like Detroit actually as a sneaky stack. Some lineup builders: Austin Hayes at 3.4 on DK, Julio at 3.2, Castellanos at 3.8 on FanDuel, Gleyber Torres at 2.5, Austin Hayes at 2.6, Heimer Candelario at 2.2, Jonathan Scope at 2.3. I'm telling you, if those guys get to Savali and Skubal pitches well and gets a W, that is a huge tournament push for you potentially. So I guess here's the question, Welsh. It's that time again. It's the weekend. Everybody's working for it, and it's home run call time. And you have done this now for a few weeks in a row. So here's the question, Welsh.
Yes.
Is it time again to call Byron Buxton for your home run for the weekend?
I'd actually like you to put up Ryan Ebree's comment. You just got to scroll up a tiny bit where he says, surely Welsh is calling Buxton for his weekend pick. What are the odds on him picking Buxton? He puts it at minus 150. Minus 150 are the odds. So that's what you guys got to play with. My home run call for the weekend is Byron Buxton. Of course it's Byron Buxton. It's always going to be Byron Buxton on Fridays. This is what we do. We Byron Buxton our Fridays, we Byron Buxton our Saturdays, and we Buxton our Sundays. This is how I win. This is how I win.
I think it's Ryan Eberle. That's how I'm reading that name, by the way.
Oh, my vision's going. I saw it an I, but that is an L.
Ryan Eberle.
No, there's an L. I saw it as like an I, so that's why I did that. But yeah,
that's what it is. Well, people have funny names on social media stuff.
Slowly
gonna need glasses. So I'm gonna stay on brand too. I've been waiting all this time. I've been waiting so long for Nolan Gorman. So let's go. Let's jump in with both feet. All weekend. Let's go. I hope he hits 7 home runs this weekend.
I love it.
And the next thing you know, I'm up there in that.
My favorite thing on the planet, one of my favorite things on the planet is calling rookie home runs. Side note, 18 years ago, worked for a sports radio station. I was just doing the engineering, and it was the big show here in Phoenix, and Carlos Quentin came up, and I followed the minors. I've always followed the minors, and Carlos Quentin came up in his debut, and the guy there, they trusted me with baseball and stuff. And I looked at him the day before and I said, Carlos Quentin is hitting a homer in his debut. And I said, you got to give me love if he does it on air. Sure enough, that night, 2 homers in his debut, Carlos Quentin, and the show host had to give it up to me. I loved Quentin.
There's a player I have not thought about and I was such a frustrating player because he would have these moments.
Sure.
And you would go, oh my God, this guy's going to be a monster.
Dude, him and Connor Jackson were coming up as 2 of the big prospects for the Diamondbacks. It was Quentin Jackson
never had any of those moments that Quentin had. Quentin had some moments. He had some runs there where he would go off on a month and he would look like the best hitter in baseball. And he was just spectacular. And then I'm trying to remember, did he get a second breath somewhere else? I don't remember.
White Sox. Right? He played with the White Sox, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. He had a couple stints. The Diamondbacks.
That was the White Sox run that I'm thinking of. Is the White Sox run.
No, you're right, because he didn't last too long.
After that, he have another run. I don't remember off the top of my head, but those are the days. The Carlos Quentin.
I just love the home run call by rookies. I think it's actually one of the more fun things to do. And are you taking Gorman into the weekend too?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Friday, Saturdays, all Gorman all the time. If he's coming up, he's here to play. As you said, Edmonds going to play shortstop, so the kid's going to play. Now, I hope he doesn't sit Sunday because that would just piss me right off again. And I'm going to be back here and salty on Monday. Yeah, but I think he gets the weekend. Give him the weekend. Let him play some games. Let him hit some home runs. Mayer took a catcher, I believe. He took Wilson Contreras. So it's a little risky considering he might. I guess he could DH on Sunday. I guess that's possible. But
catchers are fun. Risky. Super fun to take catchers.
Yeah, but then Sunday you get the day game after night game stuff. Is it just me or does it feel like there's a ton of day games this year? Yeah. I just feel like, right?
Yeah, I get these notifications and I'm like, wait a minute, the games are starting? Like, what's going on? Like, there were like not a lot of games yesterday and they were majority in like the mid-afternoon. It does seem like that.
I mean, like they're making lunch plans. Like the Pirates call up the Cardinals, like, what are you doing this afternoon? I don't know. You want to like go out with the time, like 3:30, we'll get coffee and then we'll play a baseball game. They're like, yeah, okay. I feel like that's pretty much
wouldn't it be great if schedules were done like that? Like, hey, you just want to go play a game? They're like, yeah, sure. Like, all right, cool.
I love how the NFL schedule is done. That's my favorite thing in the world because you watch that guy who's got all those little tags in the giant board and he goes through for like days at a time, moving all these things and then positioning the times and all this. It's the most fascinating thing on the planet. That's the job I want someday. Just lock me in a room with the NFL schedule. Yeah, I think.
You know what? I'd like to see that video. I'd like to see that video of you dealing with it. I'm pretty sure about 30 minutes in, when the changes happen, you would just throw it down and you'd be like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. There's no way you would handle that.
All right. Any final thoughts, Welsh, before we head out of here for the day?
It is not. Have fun with all your lineups this weekend. There's craziness to be bound. Enjoy the rookies. And I think it's going to be, I think we're closing in on the next stage of rookie call-ups coming up here very soon. So keep your eye on him. Liberatore, Gorman, Myers on the short-term IL, but he'll be coming up soon. And I think there's another handful of guys that are going to start, and maybe something we can talk about next week. Another handful of guys. So don't be afraid to start peeking around the AAAs and trying to find spots. O'Neal Cruz, I expect to be coming up soon.
Luis Patino is also starting to work his way back too, by the way. So that's another dude too to keep an eye on. A lot of guys working their way back from rehab stuff. A lot of guys getting called up. So keep an eye on the board and keep an eye on us. We'll be back again Monday to recap the weekend and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't, like this video, because I'm telling you right now, we are so close to our 7,000. We want to hit that goal by the end of the month. We're at like 693. Come on. We're right there. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Come on. I got all these videos coming. I got the waiver wire video I dropped this morning. Let's go, everybody.
You got the Ray Liotta one coming soon for Liberatore.
The Liberatore and Chantix. Sometimes I take them both at the same time. Next thing you know, Tommy comes in and he's all pissed off and I don't understand. What the hell? He's slapping me around. I said, Tommy, cut it out. I just
was that the one where he was like smoking a cigarette? Was he like smoking a cigarette in the ad? Or didn't he also? I think
he's it's helped me quit smoking.
Yeah,
I smoke 2 packs a day now.
As he's smoking. Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Chantix.